Hey up everyone, welcome to the Rugby League History channel. Tonight's video is going to be me 2022 Parramatta season preview and prediction video. This is the third year in a row that I've done such a video. My first one was in 2020, I backed it up last year in 2021, and this year will be my third year. 2020, 2021, I was pretty much spot on with me prediction of how I thought we would go as a club in those years. Last year I predicted us to come sixth, and we did that. So once again I'll be doing my preview and prediction for this year. And as a lifelong Parramatta supporter, I've been supporting this club all my life. I'm 34 now, so well over 30 years I've been supporting this club. So it's going to be another year where we'll just see how we'll go as a club. But just remember, this is my own personal opinion of how I think Parramatta will go in 2022. Just because I say summit, it doesn't actually mean that it's going to happen the way that I see it's going to happen. I don't have a magic wand. I just can't wave it and whatever I see goes. It's just my own personal thoughts. So just remember that when you watch this video. Going into this year, there's been more negatives than positives, I think, around the Parramatta club. There's been a lot of talk about who's leaving the club more than who's staying on and who's signing for the club. There's quite a few players leaving. I'm not really going to get into that. I've already spoken about the whole thing in my signings video. If you haven't watched that, go and check it out. We haven't signed too many people for this year, but there's been some good and some bad news in the off-season as well, along with who's leaving and who's staying. Unfortunately, probably the last thing that happened was bad news for us. Hayes Dunster out for the year with he had 3 fractures in his leg there, so he's out for the entire year, which is a massive blow. But besides that, the trial form has been okay, even though I don't really look too much in the trials. I'm not really particularly interested in how we do in trials. So what I'll do now is I'll just go over the draw, and I won't go through every single game, but I'll talk about the draw. And looking at the draw, it's actually quite a tough one. There's a lot of tough games to start the year, especially against a lot of sides that we don't do particularly well against. There's a lot of bogey sides in there. But we'll start with round 1 against the Gold Coast at home. I think this is, even though it's round 1, it's crucial that we get off to a good start and we get a good win over the Gold Coast at home there on the Sunday. The Gold Coast are a bogey side for us. Yes, we have beaten them, I think, the last 2 or 3 years, but there's been some games where they've pulled our pants down and they've really embarrassed us. And they're one of those sides that we've always seemed to have a bit of bother against. So round 1 against the Gold Coast bogey side. Round 2, our game against Cronulla's away, and it's down there at Shark Park there. It's going to be Cronulla's first home game down there in 2 years. So unfortunately for us, we're kind of like the sacrificial lamb. You can see we're the first cab off the rank going down there and playing against Cronulla, and I didn't really want to be the first team to play them down there in Cronulla after 2 years, but unfortunately it's us. Cronulla's another side where we have a bit of bother against them. They can be a bit of a bogey. And if we look at round 3 to round 5, it doesn't get any easier for us. We're up against Melbourne away from home in round 3, and yes, we did beat them twice last year, only team to do so, but we have a shocking record down in Melbourne. We've only won there 6 times since 1998 when they come into the competition. Round 4, we're against St George at home, but the last 2 years, St George have played their best game of the season. It happened to be against us, and it happened to be at Western Sydney Stadium, and they even won in the trial there this year, so we've got to be very careful there. Round 5, we're up against the Gold Coast, up there at Seabull Super Stadium. As I said previously, the Gold Coast are a bogey side, so very tricky first 5 matches. And then round 6, we play against West on the bank holiday match there. Now, we have quite a good record, I think, against West when it comes to the bank holiday game there on the Monday. And then we play another bogey side in Newcastle away in round 7 of the competition. Newcastle are always a side that seem to play very well against us. I don't know. It's kind of like we're the matador and they're the bull and we've got the red cape. And there's just something about when we play in Newcastle, they're always up for the matches against us. In round 8, we're up against North Queensland in Darwin. Yes, I know that we get paid quite a lot of money to take a match to Darwin, but I think we've got to be a bit smarter as a club as to who we play against in Darwin. We've picked the side who play and live in that type of environment with that heat. Uh, so instead of playing against a Sydney club where maybe the conditions would be a bit hard for both sides, we're actually making it easier for North Queensland because they're going up there to Darwin where they're used to the heat. We're not used to the heat. But I suppose financially it's good to take a match to Darwin every year. I think we get about 500,000 Australian dollars for taking a match there. And then there's another stretch of really hard games. Round 9 against Penrith away. Round 10 away against Eastern Suburbs. Round 11 at home against Manly. And then round 12 away against Canberra. So another 4 really tough games there. And then we get the bye, and then there's a couple of sides that we play against that we should be beating. And then to close out the year, we've got a bit of a... We don't have a tough run as we did last year, but it's still quite difficult. Round 20, Penrith at home. Round 21, Manly away. And then we've got South at home, Canterbury at home, Brisbane away, and then we finish the year with Melbourne at home. So in terms of difficulty for this season draw, if I was to give it a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the easiest and 10 being the hardest, I'd probably have to give it maybe an 8 or 9 out of 10. It's a tough draw this year for Parramatta. It's not going to be easy, but we'll see how we go. Some of the games I'm looking forward to this year, obviously round 23 and round 14 against Canterbury Bankstown, our arch rivals. Always a big game, looking forward to that one. Round 17 against West at Leichhardt Oval there. We don't play many matches against West at Leichhardt anymore. The last one was in 2013, I believe. And we also play against South Sydney round 22 at home. I'm really looking forward to that. The last 2 times that we've played against South at Western Sydney Stadium, it's been quite ugly for us, but it's always a big crowd out there for these two sides when they play, and it should be a good match, so I'm looking forward to it. Looking at the players that need to step up in 2022, you got your usual suspects like Gutherson, Moses, Marnie, Paolo, Campbell Gillard. Players like that need to step up as what's expected of them. But one player I think that really needs to step up is Dylan Brown. He did sign a contract extension to remain at the club, but last year I think he only had about 2 or 3 try assists for the entire season, and a lot of the rival club supporters have pointed that out. I think he really needs to step up and partner Mitchell Moses in the halves this year. I think he's best when he runs the ball, so Dylan Brown really needs to have a big year this year if Parramatta is to do well. The players to watch in 2022 are the players to look out for. I'm going to start with Will Penasini. I thought that he had a really good debut season last year, even though he come in towards the back end of the year. I thought he was very good and he looks like a player of the future. You've also got Bailey Simonson, who signed from Canberra. He was good in his time at Canberra, I thought, and with Micah Sivo being out and with Hayes Dunster being out, he'll get a starting spot on the wing there. So I think Bailey Simonson is a welcome addition to the Parramatta backline there. And another player that people might not know is David Hollis. He hasn't played an NRL match yet, but he's a Parramatta junior. He's played under 16s and under 18s for New South Wales. He's been talked a lot through the grades and he's been talked up a lot coming through. So if he does get a chance this year, watch out for David Hollis. As to where I see Parramatta finishing in 2022, I see the club not making the finals this year. I see us coming about 12th. Some people might be shocked with that, but when you look at the draw that we've got this year, it's quite a tough draw. And to start the year, we play against a lot of bogey sides and we play against a lot of sides that we don't particularly have a good record against. And if we're not careful, we could be 0-4, 0-5 to start the year. That might sound crazy, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility. We also have a lot of players leaving the club and a lot of players that have declared their loyalty to other places. And there's some people out there that will say, oh, they're professionals and they'll just crack on and get on with the job. But it's not really good for the playing group when half the playing group's not going to be there the next year. And there's a lot of talk about the players have all made a pact that they're gonna give it a red hot crack, and this is going to be the last year where they're going to really have a good chance of winning the Premiership. But I just don't see it happening. Once again, there's clubs like Penrith, Melbourne, Eastern Suburbs, etc. that all have better rosters than what we do. They got better players, and they're more proven when it comes to the finals, and they're more proven throughout the year, and they know how to get it done. So people might laugh and think I'm a bit crazy, a bit crackers for putting the club so low on the table, but I've supported this club all my life for over 30 years, and I know what this club's like, and I know how they're running, I know what they're capable of, and I know when I get bad vibes about them, and generally 9 times out of 10, when I have a bad feeling about something, when it involves Parry, I'm generally right. And just some of the off-season recruitment, especially beyond this year with signing Josh Hodgson, and some of the other dealings that have been done behind the scenes, like with the backroom staff, getting in Michael Ennis, getting in Paul McGregor, things like that. This season kind of has a bit of a touch of 2011 for me, where we lost a lot of players, and we got shot of a lot of players, and in their place we signed Casey Maguire, Paul Vattarere, Chris Walker, all these players that were close to retirement. And I can kind of see that there's similar vibes. We've signed Josh Hodgson, we've signed Mitchell Rain, we've failed to keep on to a few players, especially with Reid Marnie. That's just a hammer blow. That we should have really thrown the checkbook at Reid Marnie and tried to keep him. But in seeing all this, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that the club can prove me wrong and make the finals once again, and maybe go further than what they've done in the past, and maybe make a preliminary final or a grand final. I would like to see that happen. I don't see it happening, but whenever I say something negative about Parramatta, I always hope that they prove me wrong. And we'll just have to wait and see by the end of the year whether my preview and prediction is correct for this club. So anyways, everyone, this has been the 2022 Parramatta season preview and prediction. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know where you think Parramatta will finish in 2022. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. This has been Rugby League History. Tatty bye for now.